Hey there, comrades. Today I'm joined by my comrade Kelly, who is a DSA member that was elected for co-chair of our chapter in 2024. Her leadership in the chapter has led to a resounding comeback from the slump of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks for joining, Kelly.
Thank you for having me, Dylan.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background. Who are you? How did you become kind of politically radicalized? And how did your political journey bring you to DSA?
Yeah. So I'm first generation Californian. I was born and raised in Orange County in the 80s. My parents were big Democrats. My dad is a second generation true Democrat. My grandfather, who's 100 this year, still alive, always voted Democrat his entire life. He ended up marrying a woman who worked with the Democratic Party in the White House. We had the Christmas ornaments on our tree.
Oh, wow.
Worked with the Kennedy administration. That was a big deal in the 60s. But my mother would flip parties growing up. And being in Orange County in the 80s and 90s, and as it is now,
Right.
it's a red place. So I grew up in a very affluent, beautiful, suburban area. I went through the public school system in high school. I took government in that public school system, and I was actually 18 my senior year in high school, coming out of Government 101, and I was like, oh, okay, I understand what government is. But in the public school system, they stopped government in the 1850s, right before the Republican Party was, modern Republican Party was formed. So I came out, and I'm like, oh, I'm a Republican. I'm a Jeffersonian Republican. Didn't get the history of what the modern Republican
What
Party
happened
was.
afterwards?
No, I was still in 1790, 1810. I was like, oh yeah, no, that's the Republican Party. No, Kelly, no. And it's embarrassing to say, but I want to say it because you can change. The more you learn, it is okay to change your beliefs and to course correct, especially when new information is given to you. So as I stepped into college, also in Southern California, a private, nice film school in Southern California, I was exposed to individuals who came from various backgrounds, socially and politically. And in college, I started to hear wait a minute, what do you mean that's how it is? Wait, what are you talking about? What's communism? Hold on. You sound crazy. But also, what do you mean what I believed was incorrect? So I'd go home, I'd pull up the internet, I'd go on Wikipedia, and I'd start reading. Yeah. And the openness and willing to learn has always been something that's in me. I'm always I want to learn why. And then in college, I was truly radicalized. I ran with a very radically left group of friends, but it allowed me to learn more about what I didn't know. Right. And then weigh both sides. And as we're in the end eras of the Iraq war right by now, Obama's coming, Obama's running. Right. I'm starting to see I am very much a Democrat. I only vote Republican one election. And I immediately whoops. Yeah. Never told my father, sorry, Dad. Don't tell Grandpa. But immediately, oh shit, I was wrong. But you got to remember, my freshman year in high school, I watched the towers fall, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah. I had learned nothing about Middle Eastern history up until freshman year. They don't teach that. No. So I was like, oh shit. But I immediately flipped, went into college, became a bit more radical, and never stopped reading. I kept reading, and I love history. So I believe the pathway of learning history allowed me to naturally just learn the pathway of all the political movements that were involved and the players and the conditions that resulted in them. Yeah. And caused them in many ways.
So this whole journey brings you sort of through conservatism to progressivism and then finally to socialism. So I'll ask you, what does socialism mean to you, and what drew you to DSA specifically?
Socialism is to me truly the most equitable future for our species. Throughout all of history, we've had radicals on both sides, left and right, but we've never had that within the climate of a collapsing planet. Right. We cannot live under a model, politically or economically, that values infinite growth. on a
Right.
planet with finite resources. There's no future forward in that way. And I say that just from the survival of like the human race beyond my lifetime and my children's lifetime. Like, so socialism to me is combating the present late stage capitalism that is now causing violence globally, especially domestically, and has no place in the future of our species. I came to DSA because I heard from those radical friends from college, who I'm still very close with. They were like, you should join this. We all moved to LA at the same time, DSA LA, join. I'm like, I'll be a paper member. So I signed up. I paid dues for a couple years, fell off. Trump was elected. I'm like, okay, back to paying dues, DSA do paying member. But I never really had the time to step into more activism. Capitalism sucks your time.
Yeah, it does.
It kills and takes your
Capitalism
time away.
sucks.
It sucks. It takes away all your time. It is, and it's by design. It's to keep you producing value for someone else. So I would come home exhausted and not have time to do much else. But then the pandemic happened, and we were locked inside.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, with like DSA specifically, I couldn't go out and march in the Black Lives Matter. One, COVID. Two, I was very pregnant in 2020. For March 9th, our doors locked and we didn't leave. So I saw the protests happening.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't go out. One, also, I can't go out pregnant. I feel scared to go out in that manner.
Yeah.
And I was basically just hibernating for 2 years, having babies. But in that time, I'm like, what could I be doing for my computer to help the movement, to help DSA? And I kept reading and I kept learning. And by the time I came to Ventura, we moved out to Ventura because we can't afford LA because of capitalism. Came out to Ventura. I had the time, and my partner had the time as well for me to dedicate more time to DSA.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into my next question, which you're a working mother, which essentially means you have 2 full-time jobs. But you're also the co-chair of our local chapter. And it astounds me how much work you're able to do despite all this, your job and you're taking care of your kids. So how do you find the time and inspiration to organize locally when you're so busy with your own life?
Big communication with my partner, delegating like work and time, and dividing that is very important. The age of the children also helps too. It helps when they're not out of diapers. Yeah. Not as much needed. But it's a lot of like delegation and compartmentalization of my time, equal parts prioritizing work and then rest. Yeah. I'm definitely a person where I rest hard. I go into like shutdown mode. I also there's always something going in the back of my head. I'm present, I'm doing work, but the back of my head is always like thinking what to do. And I do it a little at a time. I don't sit down, and it's never perfect, and I don't shame myself for not getting it right. I'll just write one thing down. I'll write one email. I'll update the website in one way. I'll check Slack in one way. Okay, I'll just do a little bit at a time. The little bit really adds up in the long run. Setting reasonable goals is also helpful, both personal, familial, work, and chapter.
Yeah. I'm really good with like to-do lists.
Yes.
Like that keeps me on track for sure.
I love to-do lists. Yeah. And the to-do as well as like, change the world. Oh, okay. You can't check that box right away. What's one thing? So my to-do list early in my career, I would always it would be like the big picture. And I would never get it done, or I'd forget. And it's like, no, write the little thing. Write email to this one person.
Exactly.
Then after that, then reply to that email. It's like, so making, and make that the goal, not change the world being the goal. That's the end game.
Sure.
So it's those small tasks that are really on my to-do list.
Nice. Right on. And there's a lot of work to be done for sure. I mean, 2025 was one of the most destructive years in recent memory. I mean, you've got the Trump administration has worsened, the billionaire captured economy, driving up costs for working families. ICE agents have been LARPing as the Gestapo, terrorizing and kidnapping thousands of workers across the country. And our government, continues to fund and support the Israeli genocide of Palestinians across the occupied territories. And Trump has also renewed the time-honored tradition of the imperialist saber rattling in Latins and South America. And in this time of increasing, right-wing authoritarianism and oligarchy, where do you think socialists fit in this current moment?
It's an alternative. Well, it's not so much the alternative, but it's the answer. Within the current present system, the electoral system, where we still have elections going, socialism pushes the democratic model more towards where it should have always been since the 1930s, and creates a lot of solutions to the majority of the pains that Americans are experiencing here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it will also be the solve to what a lot of international people are experiencing because of our politics. We are a global violence at this moment, and socialism doesn't have any motivations to perpetuate that.
Right. I would also say that, I think that socialism in this, or socialists fitting in this current moment, we're here to present a better future.
Yes.
Or an idea of what the world can be like. Because currently, the sort of one party, Democrat, Republican, they don't really have a vision of the future.
No.
Other than continuing what we're currently doing, which, unilaterally everyone hates.
And that's keeping the market going. Again, that's wealth, the generation of wealth.
Yeah.
When a country or person's motivation is just profit, you create pain, violence, and it destroys all life.
Yeah.
And that is not a way forward. Again, when we have a planet that is already on its axis, or on its, it's already going to create violence in its own. So having two forces working towards that violent end game is just not. That's not it. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and so we're out here, DSA's out here trying to present that better view of the future. And the Democratic Party has continued to vilify socialists and progressives alike. I mean, they've continued to betray their own liberal base as well by refusing to learn their lessons from 2024 and beyond, and have been capitulating to the GOP on almost every issue. I mean, they're hardly an opposition party. And so I asked, what future, if any, do you think the Democratic Party has? And where do you think DSA has a long history of trying to infiltrate the Democratic Party to move it further left. At a time when the Democratic Party is pulling at, the lowest approval rating in recent memory. Does the Democratic Party have a future, do you think?
Not in its current shape. No.
Yeah.
I think we'll see it reformed in one way or another, the same way that the Republican Party was formed in 1857 through the combination of the collapse of the Whig Party and union agreements. We created the modern Republican Party. That's where it came from. Surprise. So I think we're going to see something like that in the Democratic Party because we still have the two-party system. Majority of Americans believe in only the two parties. We've seen the Green try to infiltrate and create third parties for over almost 100 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. We've seen ex-presidents try to run on third-party platforms. It doesn't work. There's still this two-party.
Yeah. And I think go ahead.
Sorry, but in its present shape, the Democratic Party will reform. I'm hoping in its reformation, through democratic socialism, we will finally see the blessing of a multi-party system within a democratic republic, like we see in Norway, and like we see even in other parliamentary governments, where you have multiple parties that all have seats and run from different POVs. I hope also in its push and reformation, we see other things like ranked choice voting, which is also a majority, the abolishment of the electoral vote. What do you mean we still have that? We don't, Like that is left over from pre-Civil War
what do you
era.
Mean Wyoming has 2 senators.
Right.
It's like, what?
It's like, what do you mean? Even just the fact that your house, the House and Senate, once elected, can't get them out.
Yeah.
Can't get them out. So and I think that's what we've seen right now with the Democratic Socialists running under the Democratic tickets currently is presently the environment allows you to go in under a party and then really do whatever you want. We've seen that also in Arizona. Oh, I'm a Democrat. Nope. Then goes in, votes everything down the Republican line.
Well,
no ramifications.
Yeah. I mean, there are some places that are deep blue where you kind of have to run as a Democrat, even though you really aren't. And speaking of which, while this country's been seeing all this corruption uncover and oligarchs gutting the system, our boy, DSA member and NYC Mayor Zohran Mamdani ran a historic race and beat the Uniparty and the oligarchs who funded his opposition. How did you feel watching that inauguration, and what do you think of his work so far?
That honestly was the high note of last year because I think it was like the morning prior, I woke up to Dick Cheney being dead. And then within 24 hours, Mamdani was elected. It was like Christmas. I was like, this is get in the car. We're going out to eat dinner tonight. This is so great. I'm calling my family. Yeah. Like, wear your Sunday best. This is a great 48 hours.
I remember seeing the video when him and his wife went to vote, and a reporter said hey, like Dick Cheney passed away. What do you think? And he was like, all right. Like he had to really hold it together.
It was really symbolic that this an individual from an era that really began what is modern disaster capitalism dies, and here we have like a new. It was just like. It was beautiful, universal, beautiful timing.
And how about Bernie swearing him in?
Oh my gosh!
I mean, it's such a pass the torch moment. I mean,
very much so. But if you look at what he was campaigning on and his messaging, he was listening to his constituents. He never wavered from the pillars that his entire campaign were like the pain points of New Yorkers. He's like, I will remedy that. Yeah. And he stuck to it in every interview, not every interview, article. He kept to it. Yeah. And what those were nothing like truly childcare. Yeah. He's never at any point saying, I'm going to overthrow. No. I'm going to help my constituents. And I'm sorry, the majority of the voters are like, yes, that's what we want. Yeah. I'm going to vote for that. And now what's great is we're actually seeing it happen here in the political sphere. Yeah, you campaign on it, but are you going to actually do it?
And quickly, too. Like his first day going hard after like
Eric Adams
like delinquent tenant or delinquent like landlords. Yeah. Going after landlords on the first day and like reversing all of the executive orders post his Eric Adams's criminal charges, and then like a week in, already has a plan for universal childcare with the governor. Yeah, and it's just like bang, like going out the gate firing. So I have a lot of hope for this his mayorship, and I think it's really going to be. We were talking just a second ago about the future of the Democratic Party. Like, they need to run Zohrans, who are Democratic Socialists, who are DSA members, who have this popular message, who are populists on the left. And I feel like that is the way. That's the way for them forward, whether they want to choose it or not. Because if they don't choose it, they're going to be irrelevant by the next couple elections. And unless they move further left, and whether it's them or a new party, that I feel like that is the future, especially in this age of like post-truth, populist candidates like Trump. Like, there is no going back to the neoliberal consultant-pilled, politician. It's not going to happen.
No. Especially when we allegedly live in the wealthiest country on earth, and yet we see poverty at scale higher than any other developed country.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work anymore. So yeah, we're gonna see Democratic Socialists run more under the Democratic Party, I believe, in the next coming years. I think we'll see a reformation. I don't know
If they let them.
If we have elections. That's the thing. The present the Dems are like looking at. Of like, oh no, we'll still have elections. We might not.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't do anything.
The current administration is behaving in manners where there is no 2028 presidential election.
I should say if we don't do anything, because as we've seen, we can't rely on the Democratic Party to do anything.
No.
You know, if anything, they're collaborationists. So it's like, it's up to everyone to get organized locally.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, Zohran's campaign started with a 1% chance of winning.
Yep.
And within 6 months, he won the primary. You know, and given it was ranked choice voting in that county, but still, like it's, people have got to get involved. They can't rely on the establishment to fix itself.
Yep.
Because it's running exactly the way it wants to.
Yeah.
And we have to go in and change it.
Every person has like the three main things to create change in the world, and that's time, talents, and money. Mm-hmm. And no matter your skill set, background, or what you think you're capable of doing, pick one of those three and put it towards a cause that you truly believe in its way. Mm-hmm. I hate to be like Lord of the Rings, but like the smallest person can have the biggest impact. And it's so true.
Yeah.
Your dollar is a more powerful vote under late stage capitalism than potentially a vote, since we might not have votes. Mm-hmm. So withhold your money from organizations, places, and people that don't have the wants and beliefs and future that you hold. Mm-hmm. Withhold your labor from the corporations and entities and places that don't value you, or but unfortunately, like you live in a society. We live in a society. But those three things are really all we all have and can be harnessed at a collective, communal, mass level to take down everything.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly what DSA is trying to do, right? Build at a local level, run candidates from the bottom up, right? Mm-hmm. And we're filming this on a national day of action led by DSA, which was called for after the Trump administration launched an illegal attack on Venezuela, kidnapping Maduro and his wife. What was the reaction to this? And it was such a rapid escalation of U.S. foreign policy. What do you think?
When it so in Project 2025 and like the playbook that they're running on Trump's administration, not even Trump, because he's I don't think he's going to be around much longer. Their vision is to own all of North America and South America. Mm-hmm. That is the playbook. Putin will own all of Asia.
The Monroe Doctrine.
So when that happened, I was like, oh, they're starting. Like, here we go. They said they're gonna, and here they go. Now we have the talks around Greenland. So I wasn't like, oh no, I can't believe they could. I'm just shocked it was done. I expected actually more violence. I always expect more violence coming out of this current administration.
Right.
But it is happening.
Yeah.
It's awful. And it's not gonna stop. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately. We are headed towards a very violent era of the final crisis cycle of the potentially the next 7 years being incredibly revolutionary at a global scale. And what we can do as DSA is create the future. So when the rubble is around us, we have a playbook, we have an idea, and we have
each other.
Because that's really the end of the day.
Yeah.
Everything.
I mean, we have to look out for us, right? And
in looking out for us, I want to also say we are looking out for all.
Oh, yeah.
Socialism is about the collective. It's
100%.
about the community. The present state is very isolation. The American dream is an isolating mindset. Stay in your nuclear home with a fence around your property so you can get yours. And if your neighbor can't afford it, who cares? Socialism is not about that. We don't rise until we all rise together.
Right. Like the old saying, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. Right.
Lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking of Venezuela and the sort of imperial boomerang, like ICE has been terrorizing the country and has now gotten to a point where they're just executing people in the street.
Yep.
There's Minneapolis, there was Portland. I'm sure by the time this gets out, there'll be another one, unfortunately. And I feel like now is the time more than ever for members of the community to organize in rapid response networks. Here in Ventura County, we have a partnership with VC Defensa, who has been monitoring and recording and doing Know Your Rights workshops and stuff, and they've been really good. They've really been on the front lines and
incredible work.
Yeah, and we've been helping them out as much as we can as a chapter, and it's just getting organized on a local level is what the ICE agents are not expecting. I mean, they should expect it now, but they're not very brave. Like when they come in, they're very cowardly, and there's any point of resistance, they fold, and it really shows their lack of training and discipline. And I don't know where they found these guys. Probably the Proud Boys.
It's a lot of Proud Boys. And there's I was doing military math the other day. There's not enough to Trump's what he's even Stephen Miller and what he's talking about. There's just not enough people. There's not enough people to create the SS that they intend in ICE, their private army that could potentially take down the established military. It's just never going to happen. Fascism never historically wins.
No.
But it always, unfortunately, a lot of changes are always headed towards violence. Yeah. And the best thing we could do is prepare and stand together to reduce the violence that is done upon our own communities. I know this kind of goes back to COVID talks of just get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
But that could still be really, really hard.
Yeah.
To which I always think then what are your talents and how can your talents better it up?
Yeah.
They have established mass surveillance on us in every facet of our life. How can we turn some of that surveillance upon them or amongst our own community? So I know when someone's coming to my neighbor's doorbell, or when I know when there's an ICE truck turning down my street on that corner.
Yeah, I think that's that's a great first easy step for anyone who is rightfully looking at what's happening in the country and being I got to do something. Great first step is just get to know your neighbors.
Get to know your neighbors.
Find out who your neighbors are. Get to know them. One of the good things that a lot of sort of anti-ICE organizations, other organizations that are rapid response or know your rights, have been creating neighborhood councils or not even really councils, just a community, a neighborhood forms a neighborhood watch. And if anything happens in that neighborhood, everyone's notified because they all know each other. And that used to be pretty.
That was very 80s.
Very, not too long ago.
I remember the signs in the neighborhood of this neighborhood is under surveillance by the neighborhood watch. It was a little eye logo.
Sure, yeah.
That was from the satanic panic and serial killer era of the 70s and 80s. That's how Neighborhood Watch came about.
Yeah.
Because of immense violence being done to a community. And also just the helicopter parent movement.
Yeah, and the HOAs and whatnot.
HOAs and everything.
We have to make leftist HOAs.
No dues unless
Actually,
you want.
Yeah.
On your own.
Just join your.
You can paint your house whatever color you want.
Join your DSA chapter.
Just
you
join
don't
your
gotta make
DSA
an HOA.
chapter. Just get to know people.
Yeah.
I think, it's like I said, the American dream is one of radical isolation, and it is by design because that is an individual is easy to be fed fear of others and even of their own kin when kept in isolation. Socialism is the opposite of that. It's working with your community, because how could you possibly sit at home knowing your neighbor someone you've broke bread with, who your kids have played with,
Mm-hmm.
is being harassed and taken unlawfully. And I couldn't just sit there.
And a lot of that like passiveness comes from not having those community connections. So if you're just like living in your house, you know, within your four walls, and you don't pay attention to the world outside, then of course it doesn't mean anything to you when ICE rolls through your neighborhood, you know, because you don't know anyone.
You don't know anyone.
You know, and if you form those connections with your community, you know, all of a sudden there's stakes. And, you know, in the community organizing that I've done, you know, you get to hear like from multiple different people, and we're all suffering from the same thing, you know, and that suffering brings us together, and we can formulate on that and, you know, come up with strategies and come up with ways to take care of each other. And, you know, I think that's really ultimately what's really important.
Yes.
is building up those communities, and because it all, you know, it doesn't just drive you to action, but it also gives you something to live for. 'Cause it's like, oh yeah, like this is why I want to make the world better because of, you know, my neighbor Joe and his family. You know, I want them to have a good life as well as well as me. You know,
when persons are taken care of, when the basic needs are met, history has proven we've seen the most beautiful art done. We've seen leaps and bounds of technology, art, music, entertainment. We've seen like the true facets of our humanity come out when we are cared for. And so we're at a moment in our history where we need to care for each other more than ever. And in doing so, I think people are always like, oh, what's the future like? You can't even imagine the future. We can't even fathom it because we're under such a market mindset, capitalistic mindset of needing to produce something that will make money. What if we just produce something that makes you feel love when you hear it? Or like,
what a novel idea.
What a novel idea. Not just love, but also just like inspired when you read it. Those sorts of things are truly what makes us human. Isn't that why we invent technology in the first place? So we can get back to being human and connecting with one another. But in the present, we are having the tools we are creating are dividing us, are being in turn turned on us to divide us. And that's, we're going to seize those back.
So it's January 2026. We're talking about, you know, the future of this country. What is, you know, on a local level, what's next for DSA Ventura County? And how can folks get involved in their local chapter and help us build this future? Help us dig us out of this hole that we've found ourselves in.
So at our level, we have our working groups that are backed, and we are prioritizing the working groups where our membership is most interested in. So we have labor, political education, electoral, and mutual aid that are back. But that's not to be said a working group can't pop up amongst anything else that a member cohort feels they want to spearhead.
Yeah, we're a member.
Which is great.
Yeah, we're a member-driven organization.
Member-driven.
So if your chapter's not doing something that you want to see, get involved and make it happen. You know,
what I love about DSA too is it is kind of intimidating to go into the activist space when you don't have any activist background, so to speak. You actually do. You just don't know it. But it's like I can't lead a working group. I don't know. I could go to a rally. I know how to stand and yell and be present, but I don't know how to organize like 50 people for a meeting. I'm scared to give a meeting presentation. Don't worry. DSA has such an immense, deep toolbox to ready you at any level to do the work. And a lot of times the work has been done and almost perfected of like, oh, you're starting that? We have the playbook. Here's the toolkit. Here's the workshop kit. Actually, here's the meeting. You can go. We will train you. So it is a fantastic organization where you can come with your time and your energy and your interests, and there is a place for you here.
And we have tool books for if you don't live near a chapter, you can start your own.
You can start your own.
If you're at a university, you can start your own YDSA club. If you're in a county that doesn't have a chapter, you can start your own chapter.
Start your own chapter.
All the resources are here at National. You know, We have different regional organizers. There's committees.
States now.
Yeah,
We have
California DSA.
Yep.
Represent.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's, the intimidation. I want to just like strike it away. Visiting the website is always a great start. Even if you don't even want to sign up, start going through the reading list, the YDSA reading list or the national DSA start reading the way I did. That's how I got started. I'll just start reading on my own. And when I come to it, I'll sign up.
Right. Any final thoughts for the new year, Kelly?
Take comfort that there is still hope out there in your community, in your friend base. Do not let the present environment lead you to despair. There will always be hope. There will always be people standing up against the atrocities and violence of the American imperialism at present. And know that history has proven time and time again that these efforts never end well.
No.
For them.
For them.
So stay fast, take care of one another, find your community, find your group. And if you don't, start your own. Because I bet you there's a bunch of people in your neighborhood right now that are just as scared as you are. Come together.
Yeah.
My favorite thing I think this year for myself is the mantra I've had in the back of my head is just like, do it scared. Just do it scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything, like, just don't wait for you to be like, no, that doesn't scare me. Just do it scared, because you're still doing the work at the end of the day. And that's what counts. That's what leads to change.
100%. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us, Kelly. This has been a great conversation. Join DSA now. Join DSA today. We've got a world to win.